going on, everybody? It's Angel624, and I'm gonna make a video. And I haven't made a video in a pretty long time. And the direction of my channel, it's always been up in the open, and I've wanted to make decisions, but it's wherever my interests lie, really. And well, right now, under weird circumstances, it's back in wrestling. Tonight, I was really bored, and I put on TNA. I don't know why. I just did. Now, 2 years ago, I had made a video ranting about where TNA stood, where I stood with watching them as a product. And, well, I ranted, and I was really disappointed in the direction that they had gone in. Just absolute disappointment with the booking, with creative, the direction that they took themselves in as a whole. And it really disappointed me because I had been watching this company since 2002 when they had first become an alternative to WWE, which was going on a bit of a decline at the time. They still are on the decline, but they're fluctuating. And I mean, my uncle, as I've said, had relations with the company, had worked with the company at points, and I'd gone to events, and I was close with some of the wrestlers. I mean, to me, the company changed so much not because of, well, which goes into the next thing, Russo. Vince Russo has left the company to my knowledge, so has his son. And but the problem as I see it is that he's not really the issue, because creatively they were doing fine in their first year when he was working for the company. And he had become like a Vince McMahon kind of character, where he had been, the guy, and everybody had shit on him back in '02 and '03. And, to my knowledge, Russo really hadn't had a lot to do with the creative fault. He had done his job the best he could. A big thing that a lot of people that I've wondered about, and I've talked to people about, is Hogan, Bischoff, and Dixie Carter and where they stand. I don't know. I mean, because a lot of people are blaming Hogan and Bischoff for, the things that the way they were. There was a possibility, but you got to remember, look at WCW in their first stint in '97, going into '98, and very early '99, rather very late '96 to very early '99. The company wasn't bad. Creatively, Eric Bischoff is really smart. He just let the talent get the best of him. But Bischoff isn't dumb. Eric Bischoff is not a bad writer or a booker. And Hogan is Hogan. He's Hulk Hogan. Sure, he's old. Sure, he's not going to wrestle as much. Sure, he's going to demand a little bit more respect in the locker room. But guys, everybody seems to forget late '96, early '99, WCW, and even, I hate to say it, the NWO was the best thing going. They were crude, they were rude, and they were different. It's what it is. And Dixie Carter, she's got the money. She's keeping him alive, and I can't really fault her. She doesn't know a lot about wrestling. It's very obvious in the way the product is run. But what a lot of people are forgetting, in my mind, is they're very scrutinizing, and the internet has a big reason for that. And I am a part of this, and I will probably continue to be a part of this scrutinization. But a lot of people do it very extremely, and the points are missing. Guys, it's professional wrestling. It's not perfect. It's never going to be what it was. We know that. But it's not going to be perfect. There are going to be things that TNA is going to try to make themselves a bit more mainstream that people aren't going to always like. And the fact that people are calling other people marks and really selling TNA short. I mean, they're trying the best that they can, and I mean, and it's pretty obvious now because they have a young champion in Bobby Roode, a young champion in Austin Aries. They still have the best talent roster in the country. And you know, you kind of look at the bright sides. Although creatively they do struggle, very much so. They don't make a lot of sense, but I got to give them credit, and that's what we're going to go into tonight, where the circumstance lies. I only caught the last hour of Impact Wrestling tonight, and that would be March 1st. I really have to give it to them. The impacts that I have watched before when they made the turn into Impact Wrestling and they were getting the promotions from the different advertisers where they were advertising for the insurance companies and the Stacker 2 and all of this shit. They handled it pretty well in that last hour. I'd say there was a max of 3 commercial breaks. Normally, on a bad Impact, there's about 5 to 6. And the 3 matches, or the 2 matches that I watched, and the one really good in-ring promo that I watched, starting first with the in-ring promo, was Robbie Roode, Austin Aries, and Bully Ray. Let's break them down. I'll start with Bully Ray. Guys, Team 3D has run its, or the Dudleys, whatever you want to call them, they've run their course. They were the greatest tag team for a very long time. They were probably, in longevity, they were probably the best tag team from the mid-90s to the late 2000s, the very late 2000s. I mean, they ran their course. And you got to remember, Vince broke them up in 02 to 03 when it was Reverend Devon and Bully Ray, or Bubba Ray at the time, when he was just wrestling by himself as a singles. Guys, people want a singles career. It's the way things work. And Bully Ray, you know, he's a loudmouth New York guy. He's playing himself. So it's really good that, you know, he's able to do that. And he's a pretty hateable. I hate him when I watch him. So he's doing his job as a good heel. Austin Aries, very, very good in the indie scene. I mean, just what more can you say? I mean, he's a very talented, cocky, lightweight kind of wrestler that you really got to enjoy. And Robbie Roode, Bob Roode, I mean, he works, man. The guy works. He's a young guy. He's got the belt. They gave him the spotlight, and he's carrying it through. Everybody is the big picture is that it's a copycat game. Rob Roode is copying Chris Jericho, who copied Nick Bogwinkle. Everybody copies people. It's a copycat thing. Robbie Roode copied Ric Flair, who copied Nick Bockwinkel. It is a copycat league. Or rather, Nick Bock, yeah, either way, same time period. I'm the generic heel. You know, it can be debated that Ric Flair got some stuff off of Nick Bockwinkel and Nick Bockwinkel, you know, it's whatever. But the point is that it's a copycat game, and it's what makes them a little bit different. Rob Roode's a great wrestler. That's what sells him over. Austin Aries, great wrestler. That's what puts them over. Sting, and then the promo was good, solid. We're not getting put in main events. We're tired of not wrestling. And it was really good. Or that was Austin Aries, and Bully Ray was like, you know, nobody's giving me respect, and I'm not getting main events either. And then Rob Roode was like, the title, you know, and I'm the greatest, and, you know, typical heels. And, you know, Sting comes in the ring and is doing his gimmick. The thing about Sting that I think a lot of people shit on him for, and he doesn't deserve it, you know, Sting is longevity. He can't really wrestle anymore. He's not very good at wrestling. But he's Sting. He's the icon. He's one of my favorite WCW wrestlers, and one of my favorite wrestlers in general. And I'll always give him support because I like Sting. I like Steve Borden. I just do. You know, and it's what it is. He's not really holding on to a spotlight because obviously he doesn't have the belt all the time. He hasn't had the belt every month. They're switching the belt around. They're doing what they can for what it is. And that was a good promo, and that would lead into the main event, which we'll get to last. Then was next was, listen, let me be perfectly clear about the X Division. The X Division, to me, will always be what put TNA over and what will continually make them special. When the X Division first started, it was Styles, Low Key, Jerry Lynn doing their thing. That was the first real X Division to me. My first X Division memory was them facing off in a triple threat ladder match. And the bumps they were taking were ridiculous. The X Division is what people want. If I could have a whole card of just X Division, I would. But you got to realize something. A whole card of X Division, no storytelling. They tell the story with the wrestling, but people like the storytelling. So I do. I like the balance. The X Division is what sold them over. And they had a great match tonight. Shannon Moore and Z-Mayan. I like this kid Z-Mayan. I think that he's a very good heel. I'm the best X Division. You know, he's another typical heel, but they can back it up with wrestling. That's the thing. You can have 1,000 typical heels, but if they can wrestle, it's a good thing. It's a great thing. And then you have Shannon Moore, who's the indie guy. You know, he's always around. You know, whatever. He's Shannon Moore. And they wrestled a good match. You know, solid 5 to 7 minute match. I like what he did, Z-Mayan. He responded to a promo that this kid, Jesse, cut. Jesse got his neck broken by him, and, you know, it was kind of weirdly placed because Zima's like, oh, I don't give a flying fuck. He was trying to get some heat. I mean, Zima was like, I don't give a fuck, and he was trying to get some heat. I mean, it's obvious, but that's what you got to do. Sometimes the obvious things are just the things that are just really, really good. And, yeah, I mean, it was a solid match, and, you know, got to keep that up. More X Division matches, the better. And that's what's just going to help him. Next was the women's match. And believe it or not, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like women's wrestling matches. I never will. But TNA, they have the best women. They have very good-looking women. Now they do. They used to not really, but now they have. Sarita, Angelina Love, Velvet Sky, Mickey James, Christy Hemme, Victoria. I'm going to call her Victoria. Whatever her new name is, I don't even freaking know. I couldn't remember it the first time I heard it, to be honest with you. But you have a lot of good-looking women. And all of them can wrestle. Gail Kim. If they get Awesome Kong back, I mean, it'd be really cool, but that's probably not going to happen. But, yeah, I was pretty devastated when Awesome Kong left. That kind of hurt a lot. You know, she's always going to be the best female wrestler in TNA. And the matches she had with Gail Kim were incredible. Those were not P-break matches. Neither was this. This was kind of like, oh, okay, it's the women tagging. But then, you know, they were moving. They weren't botching. They looked good. They looked hot, and they did their thing. You know, Angelina loves boobies who are all over the place. And so are Sarita's, you know. So, hey, call me perv, but whatever. And the main event, wow, I was really impressed. This main event came on at a little after 10:30. They had their little introduction of the superstars in the main event, you know, to get some time. But it was a solid, if you think about it, if you were in the impact zone, it was a solid 20-minute main event. And on television, it was about a 15-minute main event. That's pretty damn good. And only one commercial, and it was not a very long commercial. So I'll give it what it was. It was great. It was a good, nice, fresh main event. 6-man tag. All young guys. Well, not really Bully Ray, but all decently young guys. Hey, listen. He's 30-something, but can still kind of do it. He can still do it. And it was good. It was solid. Samoa Joe looked great. He looked fucking great. Joe was getting the crap beaten out of him, and he did all his moves. And yeah, listen, he's a big guy. His weight shows on him. But the guy looked incredible. He looked incredible. He looked really good. So, what it is to me is that I look at it as this is a great step in the right direction. Just a solid show, no weird promo work, to my knowledge anyway, because I only watched the first hour of the show, the last hour of the show rather, and really, really, that was a solid hour programming. And I looked on Twitter, and a lot of people responded well to it. It was a good, solid main event. Impressive. Here is TNA's curse: one good week, three bad ones. I am gonna watch Lockdown. I am very excited for it. Rather Victory Road. I think that's the pay-per-view. I think it's no. I don't think it's Victory Road. I'm not entirely sure. I have to look. It's Lockdown because Lockdown's in March. Yep, Lockdown. Um, and it's in Nashville. You can't really screw that up. That's where TNA came from. I went to a lot of those shows. I know. Back in the asylum. It's a step in the right direction, and I am going to be making videos weekly of Impact. I am really, really happy that I stumbled upon it tonight, and I remembered. Anyway, so, wow, this is a long video. It's probably my longest video ever. So, yeah, guys, that's it. I'm really hoping that TNA can kind of just bring it home because they are the best. They are still, and it kills me to say that they are still the White Knights of Wrestling. They are still the hope. Their fans just have to be a little bit more lenient and know that there's always a chance. So anyway, guys, every week there's going to be a new video. Also, guys, if you want, I'm going to put a link in the description. I am on the radio every week in my school, New York Tech, on WNYT Radio. Every week I do a show, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, called Skunk Rock. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. It is internet radio. If you guys want to take a listen, you just have to download Real Player. I'll talk wrestling. That's what I do. I play punk rock, ska, hardcore, and I talk about wrestling. Cool, right? Anyway, all right, guys. Have a good night. Well, have a good morning if you live on the East Coast. I love you guys, and Age Old 624 signing out.